When you're clogged up on the dude, like your life needs fucking Drano. It's insane though. And you can't quit it.
Now I've really stepped in it, because I've got the feels for you and I should just move the fuck on. But I'm not going to, because
got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. And you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body.
whatever.
They call me lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
I've got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
Murder on the beat like Godzilla slaying Tokyo. Just left your girlfriend sheets. Boomerang Rufio.
Hooked her on the speed Sonic, she was never saying no. Roll 20 on her tabletop, but she got some booty though.
Product for the ones with positronic brains that wanna laugh and fuck them from the positive. The ones that let you do that kept so positronic. If I'm honest, Betty well will probably still be here the night I leave this cruel demonic world and want me Sonic. Losing dreams are worse than me. Like that One Piece Luffy King, I'm out to find that booty, Nami's on it. So what you say out the COVID quarantine, and you're looking good to me. Wanna let me in that Polly Pocket?
Lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
I've got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
Fucking trends like I'm a winter soldier. No girlfriend, no scully to my boulder. I pull on the depends fully when I'm older and still get checked like a Thoron gets older. Focus Gold Ranger hit a pink trend to domesticate. Masticate, I get it straight, so I ain't gonna masturbate. Swapping ride and sinking low faster than my own self-hate. Think I'm cool like Ricky Bobby, but I'm bagging Ricky Lake. It's just a journey that I'm on. I fuck a lot, don't tell my mom. I suck at bills cause weed's the bomb, and I like the girls when they get that green on. She did something hard to swallow, leaving me. Borrowed words and flying, flying you in my density. Now I'm back to a future where it's just me in a world of
They call me lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
I've got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
They call me lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
Like the economy, don't call it a recession, cause 1% think it's great and the rest of y'all can lay off. I'm guessing sticking to dick jokes at nearly 40's childhood regression. When the fuck is the payoff? Clearly shorty was a better term to bitches, but when situations got us digging ditches just to pay some bills, we fix it back to burning witches when we should be burning corporations. But we riches down fixing for pills, but who cares? Cause I can make it still, be the 1%. Ain't that the thrill? That'll fix it all. Let bears and bulls do their will, but it bears repeating. We full ass can't pay our bills still. Gotta keep the hope alive. American dreams for American lives. You forget your woes when I shuck and jive, and if that doesn't work, scroll me on by. The next video make you happy, you're sure this time. Next video make you happy, you're sure this time. Next video make you happy, you're sure this time. Next video make you happy, you're sure this time.
got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. not be healthy, but we're cuter than a selfie. Pure like romance, market self-pleasuring, multi-level market selling. Telling how we're always faulty on the shelf, but still be fucking. Fucky knows now Tory spelling. Let's do Polly, Mary Shelley. Frankly, every dime of Ben Science money couldn't buy the kinds of things I feel inside whenever you are by my side. Hell, let's play shell games with our feelings.
I'm on your line, just keep on reeling.
You might be null, so fake's appealing. Stay in the weeds like Kevin Nealon. Heaven only knows what I would be without you. Feel big love like I'm Bill Paxton, but I'm broke like Brian Wilson. Should I hold on like his daughter? Is that lining up for slaughter? Be time for wounds to cauterize, so we hit heights like my alma mater. This is how it goes. Love is always messy. Have confessed the best me. Probably can't see how to be a we when you keep me guessing.
I want to stress that this is a bad situation for me. I should break up with you, but I don't wanna, cause got a good fit. You like my body. Got a good fit. You like my body. Got a good fit. You like my body. You like my body.
Well, they say I'm on the rebound. Boy, your name is Ben Wallace. Be like Shaq and dunk it back, cause maybe I'm the tallest. But flawless I am not, so I'm questioning that shot. Like Big Ben shooting free throws. But you're really fucking hot! So what do they know? I'm not wounded just because they say so. Wounds will bruise me, sure there's pain, but I always stay on like a volcano. Can we be the same though? Not a simple yes or say no when you're clogged up on this dude. Like your life needs fucking Drano. It's insane though.
And you can't quit it. Now I've really stepped in it, cause I've got the feels for you and I should just move the fuck on. But I'm not going to, because got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. And you like my body. And you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Whatever.
They call me lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
Got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
Murder on the beat like Godzilla slaying Tokyo. Just left your girlfriend sheets. Boomerang, Rufio! Put her on this beat, Sonic. She was never saying no. We're pony on her tabletop, but she got some booty though. Chronic for the ones with positronic brains that wanna laugh and fuck them from the positive. The ones that let you do that kids for positronic. If I'm honest, Betty well will probably still be here the night I leave this cool demonic world with want me Sonic. Losing brings worse and brings it worse than me. Like that One Piece losing king, I'm about to find that booty, Nami's on it. So what you say out that COVID quarantine and you're looking good at me? Wanna let me in that Polly pocket?
Lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
Got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
Fucking trends like I'm a winter soldier. No girlfriend, no skull into my molder.
Well, I am not my much prettier girlfriend, but you should stick around and watch what I'm doing anyways, cause I share some stream accounts with my much prettier girlfriend, but I think if you hang out, you'll find out that I am we share a Twitch account. Twitch.com/dorkspace. She's on it, honestly, most of the time. I'm sorry that I'm not the hottie that you were hoping to find. Pretty hot though, if I say so, just not the hottie you were looking for. But I'm playing every game on the Nintendo 64 and every Final Fantasy game that's come before. So please stay and watch me, por favor. I can't do this song anymore.
Hello, hi, hello. Late today, turned out, the grocery store, hello, Adam. Good morning, congrats on first. Turned out the grocery store didn't actually open till 8:30, and it was one of those things, if I didn't get groceries today, I'm gonna pop this up a little, so between. I guess that's better. Okay. The grocery store. If I didn't go today, it was going to be one of those things where it's like, well, I'm going to be talk myself into fast food and pay 10 times more, like pay a bunch of money I don't have for a bunch of stuff. So it's like, so it's like, gotta get this chore done. And then like I got there and yeah, it started at 8, not 8:30. Or 8:30, not 8. Good morning. Yes, the opening rap stuff, other than, obviously the main opening song to my streamy stuff, that's all stuff that I've made over the various years, especially like freshly divorced Jeff 5 years ago made a lot of music. And I don't know that I ever earnestly tried to like be like, I'm gonna make it as a rap guy, but I have all this stuff and it feels like I should do something with it, right? So, and having it as like opening fodder for these streams where I'm by myself makes sense. There's a lot of that stuff. I take the rap stuff for the store and usually collect it and release it at some point. Okay, we're all rested up. As some sort of like CD. I did that once before. We're kind of on the verge for probably next year. I'll do that again because we have enough kind of accumulated to do a silly CD release. And that's fun. But it's baked in irony. And not a lot of earnestness, because it's a lot of like, here's silly nonsense we made about, hey, come buy comic books, and they're essentially jingles, right? I've not in my adult life, and even in my high school life, like really ever put a lot of earnest music out there. That's something that I thought I was going to challenge myself to in my 30s. And I definitely made a lot of earnest music, but they're also baked in. I mean, like one of those is like essentially one of those like cool guy rap songs of like over the top, hey, look how like cool I am. But it's still baked in this like irony of like, actually, I'm like a lonely piece of shit. Like I couldn't stop myself from like that representation of it, right? So I don't know. It's something that like maybe someday I will continue to always do the silly stuff, and then maybe someday at some point I'll do like some actual like earnest takes on like, well, what if what if I was actually trying to say something? The problem is like does that make sense? I've always struggled dabbling in music, but it's a struggle. I always wanted to dabble in making music, but it's a struggle when I've tried. I think if anything like this computer era, like you could almost approach it mathematically, and get more out of it maybe than like that's the interesting thing with this. It's just like era of being a musician is that like it's not. I'm always completely amazed when I listen to things that were recorded 100 years ago before anyone had like any notion of how to do anything, right? And they had to just like listen and record and listen and record and listen and record again, and like I could not make music in that era. It is crazy to me. I do a lot of just like I mess around on the computer. Sometimes I don't figure out things mathematically, but I completely understand the people that do and just go straight theory with it. because you can now. You can sit there and just like approach music like a math problem, and it's neat. And I kind of love that that stuff exists. That and self. Part of it right now is I don't have the spoons for creative stuff. I always wanted to write a philosophical story, but my spoons sometimes just don't want to do anything but cycle through Pokerogue. Yeah. That's my problem too, is that I am able to do... we gotta close this out before I die here. I am able to do creative projects and put them out there as long as like they're stuff that I'm doing for the store and it's not like earnest. Like I could sit there and do all sorts of like, okay, let's make a silly music thing and let's make a silly thing, as long as I can plug it into like the stupid capitalistic like here's where that will, you know, turn into, you know, we're gonna immediately go and turn it into a thing that can make money. And it's just, it's so shitty that that's our approach to art. It's also crazy too, as someone who's like pretty obsessed with, my problem is I'm someone who like a jack of all trades, master of none guy, and like I'm obsessed with so many different art forms that it's like I don't know that I'll ever leave behind like a thing where like, you know, if I would have just picked one in my lifetime and ran with it, I think I'd be fine. But it sucks, like, looking at other countries. Like, I'm someone who loves filmmaking, right? And I would like to make a movie at some point. Although, after working with an honest-to-God filmmaker, I have some different feelings on that after the time that I spent with Emmanuel. I'm like, oh, okay, there are some things about this that I'm just not naturally talented at, that like you're bringing something to the table here that I just can't inherently do. But like it sucks that like other countries, if I like sat and wrote a script and like got like a trailer and was like, hey, here's a movie I want to make, here's how I would, and like a business plan how I would approach it. In other countries that are not America, there is like a system set up where you could like bring that, and there's like government money to go make a film and even like live a little while you're doing it, and we just live in a country that's just like, why would we pay for arts? That's silly. I'll say it's commendable to be a creative Renaissance man. It's neat. The problem is that it just, the things that I'm now like qualified to do are things like the comic shop guy, or a youth pastor, or you know, I could be Conan O'Brien, but only like 3 people get to be Conan O'Brien, right? Like it's a very weird thing to have like all these different skill sets and not be mastering any of them. Again, like I will never be the best musician in any room ever. I mean, potentially some rooms, but like for the most part, like I'm a guy who can make music, who can okay, I can write okay, I can do that, and I'm good at a lot of these things. I'm just not really great at any of them. I'm qualified to be the guy who makes deaf jokes and fake. You are solid with the deaf jokes. They're solid deaf jokes. yeah, I think you should make some music. I would be interested. I'm always interested to hear any and write the philosophical, right? Like it is more difficult for me as a friend to have the spoons to read things that my friends write, just because I do so much better with like just like my audio processing better than my ability to like force myself to sit down and read something. It's your one talent. But like write the philosophical thing. Write some fiction. You know what I think you would be amazing at? Which is like a skill that is at its like all-time like zenith high right now, is I think you would just be like killer at like lore building and world building. I think you would be the guy to think of like all the, like, if someone's like, okay, here's this world, I think you would be killer at like, all right, here's all the greater implications and how this affects this thing over here and how this is, I think you would be amazing at that. And we're living in an era where like that is like everything right now. It in ways that I both understand and don't understand. There's part of me that's always just like, guys, there's more to life than lore. Like, but that's this is the most, okay, so like when I was a kid, every like fandom basically broke down into well, there are people that are like obsessed with the there are people that are obsessed with it in this like encyclopedic type way where they're like, oh man, what if I'm gonna get this Star Wars like encyclopedia book and memorize all of it and be able to tell you like every six, and then there's people that are just like, you know, grabbing paper, grabbing like wrapping paper insides and playing lightsabers and just like, it was just like, no, it's fucking Star Wars, I love you know, it basically broke down into like two forms of autism that used to exist. And it's interesting with my kids watching like what's coming up. They're just all like little lore masters. They're all like whatever fandom they're into. They're like deep in the like, I can name you all 19 characters and how they got this way and what's going on with them. Addo says the story I want to write is essentially like a narrative, no speaking since I can't write dialogue for shit, in which I am a psychopomp bringing people who have passed to their final resting place, and the path towards that is going to be like a narration of what the person is feeling / acting, while also processing their actions in life. Yeah, do it. That sounds awesome. Have you read The Road by Cormac McCarthy? A very bleak, sad post-apocalyptic book. The reason I bring it up though is because it's not it's a very beloved novel, and it's not structured the way most novels are. So it's like, it's very like there's no real dialogue, and it's about a man and a son surviving the apocalypse, and the whole thing, like, they don't even give the man and his son a name. It's just like, the man walked here and then the son did. So it's like, that might be something to look at to see, like, if you're like, oh man, I would love to write more, but I feel like I can't because I'm not good at dialogue. You would probably do it. It's a good book. And it's one you can find used out there pretty cheap, because it's one of those, it's been republished a billion times, and I would also say, like, there's a movie, but like I've not even watched the movie, but I don't know. It's one of those that it's like part of what makes that book work is the way that it's written and structured. And so I can't imagine, honestly, like why you would do it in a way. Oh, I forgot to. Oh no, I did the dark thing. Okay. Trying to decide where are we at with items. Softs. Like the movie has Viggo Mortensen, I'm sure it's fine, but like part of what makes that book work so much is like the fact that it is like written in the way you would read almost like a Bible story. And it has this like distance from some of the fucked up things that are happening in that book because of that writing structure. And you can't make a movie that is going to have that distance because you can't, right? Like a movie needs to follow the characters and follow what's going on, and there needs to be dialogue, and there needs it, so it's inherently not going to have that distance. And part of what makes that book work, especially in a very crowded genre of post-apocalyptic stuff, is that like very removed viewpoint. And so like really fucked up things can be happening, and it takes you to like kind of like go like, oh, this has been being written in this very matter-of-fact way, but Jesus Christ, the thing that's happening here is so messed up. And then in a movie it's just messed up. As to be honest, it's also kind of pettiness behind it all for me, because I know, I should probably do too, some really shitty people who are perceived as saints, think they're saints. Well, there's also reverse with really good people who deal with the worst luck and horrible things happen to them, finally getting the peace they deserve. Yeah, I think... yeah, write your story, man. Get it done. Like, the world needs more good stories. I also think we're at this weird point. I was thinking about this in the context of Superman, which is incredible, and I recommend everyone go watch it. Because it's this like very beautiful movie about. It on the surface seems like just another silly comic book movie, but it's actually a very beautiful movie about, you know, why kindness is important and hard. It's a beautiful film. But I would say also we're living in this weird age where we're coming out of like the anti-heroes, you know, the Dr. House MDs and the Sherlocks and the everything else, and we're moving more to an era. That one down, actually. Remember which one? I think it's down. We're entering an era where what once seemed trite of just like, I get it, he's a good guy and wants to be nice, and I get it, like, you shouldn't lie to each other, or I get it, revenge is bad and unsatisfying. We're at a point where these stories like are kind of fresh and need to be told again, as weird as that seems. Like, you can really cut through, I think, right now, with just telling a very simple, like, Shakespearean story, in a way that you couldn't before. Like, we're coming out of an era of culture that was all about, you know, complicating things as much as possible, or remixing things as much as possible. Like, hey, this is Pride and Prejudice, but with zombies, right? And then, but now we're in an era of like, you know what's really interesting? Pride and Prejudice. Like, because like we have this whole swath of people that have only grown up with the remixes, right? They've only grown up with the things that were built upon. There's been less of a love of the canon works than like ever before. Sometimes with good reason, sometimes with not. And so you have this whole like populace now that's like actually has a pretty big appetite for good basic storytelling. Like in the way that, like, you know, if you do that thing where you like eat nothing but like huge crazy artisanal burgers with like 17 different like riffs on things, like this one's an Asian fusion burger, and then it's like you haven't had just like a regular ass burger with ketchup and mustard for years, and then someone hands you one and you're like, oh my god. I feel like that's where we're at culturally right now. As so many people shit on stories like that because it was seen as too predictable, and how we need to make everything metaphorical. Like, powerful, nuanced movies and media are important, but we also need stuff that'll punch us square in the face. Yeah, I think we're back to square in the face. I think that's just where we're at.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I'd like to see you wiggle wiggle for sure, and make me wanna dribble dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat, you really have to see it.
Hello, Vince. I love this man. Everyone subscribe to these lovely. Yes, we love you too, Vince. Good to see you, bud. Holy shit, I'm in FF2. Yeah, I named a character after you when I started playing this 9 months ago. This is the first time you've been here. Honestly, I fully understand that. I love a good simple burger that is basic and delicious, still needs to, and not everything needs to be 4 sauces and 17 toppings. Yeah, I think that's where we're at with movies now. And that's part of like what people are like, I don't get it. Why are people freaking out so much about Superman? It's fine. And it's like, I don't think you understand. We've not had just a good burger in a while. We've had just all of these like overcomplicated Asian fusion 17 sauce things, and like also they've not been good. You know, the comic book movies have been like at best like okay for a minute. You only just started having Thursdays off. Yeah, I only just started doing this on Thursdays maybe a month ago, when I was finally kind of looking when we launched the new schedule, because I decided the old schedule was working for me in my brain, but like nobody else. And I want to prioritize my relationship this time around, and I don't want to be one of those guys that ends up divorced twice, because that would be silly. K-pop Demon Hunters, predictable as hell, but good as hell. I'm finally going to be watching that tonight, I think. Much to my child's chagrin, I've not watched it yet, but it's one of those things like she's mad at me for not watching it yet, but also if I watched it without her, she would be so mad. You, Lena, are great. Yeah, it's amazing. I don't want to like mess it. It's interesting. Like, I care a great deal for my ex-wife. It was not a good fit. And as much as it wasn't a good fit, things did not end because it wasn't a good fit. Things ended because I was not a good husband. And this time around, I can kind of look at like the role I played and everything falling apart and go like, okay, how do I make sure that this is a thing that like I protect and take care of, because it means a lot to me. And it's so easy, I think, especially for divorced dudes, to like look at a relationship in a marriage that they shouldn't have been in the first place and then go like, oh man, like, well, that was obviously just a bad fit, and then not work on themselves and not see like what they brought to the table. Like, don't get me wrong, the fact that it was a bad fit made it harder. You got this, I believe, Jeff. Thanks, I appreciate it. Vince says focusing on self-reflection to do better is top tier peak stuff. Yeah. It's also just like, I don't know that it, like, I would even label it as that. I would just say that like it's the only actionable thing too. So it's like, why would you focus on just like all the things that like you can't control? I've never really understood that, but people love focusing on things that they can't control and can't take action on, and I've never, that's never worked for my brain. Going with it. Level that thing up. So Vince, we are, I just almost doxed you. Vince, we're in the final dungeon of this game. It's probably going to be weeks before, yeah, people now know the starting sound of your name, because it just almost just tumbled out. Oh, we ducking baby. What's up, Lingsy? You've done it to yourself multiple times. That makes me feel less bad. Here, I can't remember the route. We're in the final dungeon of this game. It's probably going to be weeks before we actually beat it, though, because we have to go through. Also, hi to Snoopy. I don't know if I said hi. I read your comment, but we're gonna just keep plowing a little bit ahead in this dungeon a little bit. But this is like the NES, like, hey, guess what's after this dungeon? It's another dungeon. So effectively, it's the last dungeon in the game, but you have to get to where you can make a clean run through 2 dungeons to get to the final boss and beat it. And it's gonna be a minute before we can pull that off. Because these games are those games. It also, you know, with having less time to dedicate to streaming, it's also going to take longer, but it's also one of those things, you know. Yeah. As much as like this project is important to me, you know, having a happy almost marriage is more important. Which is also why, like, this morning I was late, because I was just like, nope, this grocery chore has to get done. Note to self, make that a sound alert. Oh wait, there's more. Yes. This kind of reminds me of the world's largest dungeon adventure module for D&D 3.5. It does have that vibe. So I actually love these games, these NES ones. This one had a pretty high learning curve, and the last one did too, but like I was just more familiar with it, so it didn't take me quite as long. This one has a very high learning curve, and it's been an interesting journey, seeing like them figure out what Final Fantasy is, which as much as people were like, oh, just play one of the remakes, play the Pixel remaster, it'll be so much, like, I wouldn't have gotten this experience of like figuring out like, oh, you're watching in real time them go like, is Final Fantasy like going into a bunch of false rooms in a dungeon and like being like, ha ha ha, now you have to fight a monster. And after this game, they go, nope, that's not it. But we tried it, right? Is it doing the back-to-back dungeons? Is it doing the, you see them like iterating and like slowly kind of figuring out like what they're doing, which is cool. Like I love that. I love seeing the growth in the series between games. Same, and so that was why to me it was important to just play these as close as I possibly could to the NES form. Obviously, it never came out here, so I have to do a translation. This translation is very bad. Did I tell you I want one of the Final Fantasy MTG Commander deck? No. They look cool, but also look like something that I can't afford another collecting habit right now, and that would get so out of control so fast for me. So I had to really like really be careful. I have continued on with the steelbooks, and even that I'm gonna have to kind of like feather the brakes a little bit right now, just to make till we get some accounts back up to where they're supposed to be. Responsible, stupid. But I don't collect. Like, if I didn't own a comic book store, I would collect comic books in a way that would probably be problematic. I instead have just access to whenever I would kind of want, like, it doesn't feel like such a scarce resource because it's kind of always somewhat around, so I feel like I can always get back to that. Hello, Sam. Everyone tell Sam happy birthday. It'll make him very uncomfortable. Hello, Sam. Good morning. Sorry I was late today if you tried to tune in earlier, Sam. Had to get groceries. And the grocery store didn't open till 8:30. I dropped my kid off at summer school and was like, I'm going to sneak in and get stuff, so I stopped spending money places I don't. I've been on the PC, but okay. I found a copy of Silent Hill Origins at my local used game store for a console I don't own. I debated if I should start collecting every version of each game, then walked out before I made silly choices. I don't even know if I'd be able to stream the PSP version. PSP collection's fun. What's up, Effector Change? Good morning. PSP collecting's fun though, because it's just, I don't know. I almost walked out. It was my kid's birthday, which was helpful because I was spending money on them, and I bought them a copy of. We went in a pretty good game store, and rather than spend any money on myself, I bought them a copy of Hades on the Switch because they hadn't played it. And I was like, I know you will love this game. But I was eyeing some stuff. They had an OG Game Boy there, and I was just like, what if I just got a Game Boy? It just started slowly collecting Game Boy cards. It was dangerous. I didn't, but I absolutely thought about it. And then, been talking a lot to Sam about whether or not I should buy a Retron 5, and they just had one there. Okay. But it was nice because I was able to sit and talk with someone, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I have one at home. This is what it does well. This is this, if it were me, I would get it and use these controllers on, and he was like showing me everything, which is nice and helpful. And so when I do get ready to pull the trigger on one of those, I probably will be buying it there. And it's good to know that like there's a game store, not locally, but like somewhere around that I can like walk in and do that kind of stuff. Addison, I will love Retron, but I also left all my games in the States. I'm almost done with this game. Like I said, this final dungeon area is gonna take me months probably. But I'm almost done with this one. I own the next one on Famicom, and so getting a Retron means I could just download a translation patch and be able to just like play the Famicom copy of Final Fantasy 3, which is neat. And then also I could just play carts for the next 3, which basically, outside of buying the software, buying the carts, covers me in this journey through every game through till we get to the PlayStation. So I'm highly debating either doing that or emulating 3, even though I have a physical copy of it, and just buying a PS1. Because when I was a young lad, I played all of the Super Nintendo ones the first time by stealing Vince's copy of Final Fantasy Origins and playing it on my PS1. And by Vince's copy, I mean Vince's dad's copy. And that's how I played all those games. So you do have to deal with all the weird added CGI and stuff, but that would be interesting in itself, because like it would be taking me away from this whole thing of like playing the original versions, but it would have the added thing of like, but this is how I originally experienced it back in the day. Those PS1 remasters are how I played FF5 and realized how much I love the job class. Yeah, that's how FF5 was, I think, the first Final Fantasy game I beat, and it was because I loved the job system in that collection, and so it's the job class system is amazing. Yeah, and I really like that game. A lot of people 4/2 is their favorite, and for me, I just never I like that game a lot. I like, especially like going back to the other conversation, going back to like how simple it is, but oh man, I love the main character till he turns into White Paladin guy and has the weird White Paladin poofy hat. And as a 12-year-old, I was like, this is lame. I was so mad. I'm sure I'd had a different reaction to it now, and I've not played it since, but young me was very upset about it. Edo says I really like 5. I think that's probably number 2 for me. Yeah, I rank 5 pretty high. I'm interested to see how I feel about all of these. I'm gonna try to slowly rank them as I play through them, and be kind of honest by that, and try to check for some recency bias, especially with how long I'm taking to stream through all these. Be interesting, because right now I think I would probably place 2 as a better game than 1, and most people do not agree with that. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what how all of this stuff falls. I love the idea of calling silence mute. I don't know if that's the translation or if that's like what the early, like it's less characters, obviously. Edo says, I like the story of 2 more than 1. Gameplay is a wash. The gameplay is even kind of grown on me. But like, I completely understand people that it hasn't. It's interesting because the people that have played the Pixel remaster, like, I guess he's not did any. Not saying like it's inherently bad or wrong or anything, but it's like the weird thing about these NES games is that a lot of the quality of life things they do for these NES versions like take the game out of the game. Like there's not much game left. Like I understand and appreciate someone saying like they don't enjoy what you're watching me do right now. I completely get that. But that is this game. And then if you like you would take all of that out, then there's no game left. It's kind of like it's again discourse about the Superman movie, which is incredible and everyone needs to go watch it, and everyone who hasn't watched it has like weirdly strong negative opinions about it. But even some people that have watched it are like, I don't know, I just don't like I don't like that it seems like Superman is like weak and vulnerable, and it's like you don't want a story without conflict, and you don't want a character that is never in jeopardy. Like, what are you like? That's what a story is a character like struggling and like then suddenly getting through. And so like I get the desire to do a lot of the changes they made for the Pixel remaster for this game. But so much of it takes out the friction of this game that is this game, and actually like the thing that causes it to down the line be beneficial. Like it's the hey, Dark Souls should have an easy mode conversation all over again in some ways. And it's like, so like this section, which is going to take me a while to like map out and like understand, or even be able to follow a map and do it and survive, right? Because every level of this gets harder. Even if we're on the Pixel remaster, I could turn encounters off and I could walk straight down to the boss battle, fight the boss, and then be like, neat, I beat the boss. I beat Final Fantasy 2. But did I play Final Fantasy 2, if that's what I did? And then it's interesting watching people stream this game specifically, because it's not a lot of people play this game, so I've like been very interested to and I learned this from Vince when he would just watch people like play like Silent Hill 2 and stuff. It's interesting to watch, go game specific, right? But when I watch a lot of people stream the Pixel remasters of this game, they have like weird like rules, like, okay, my first time into a dungeon, I will not turn encounters off, but then every time I go back, I will turn encounters off. And it's like, okay, but like this game was designed to have those encounters though. And then even the Pixel, like I fired up the Pixel remaster of this the other day and was just like, oh, whatever, I'll start a game, because I wanted to see the opening story bits and stuff again too. And I was able to get from the first town to the second town in about 2 seconds, and there was no need to like rest or do anything. And it was like, well, what are we doing? Like, there's a reason there's a town, then a town, then the town you're supposed to go to, get something, get out, and then the town get right. It's like you're supposed to, in that space between the two, like be in a state where it's like, oh man, I need to rest and take it, you know. But you could just walk for the Pixel rate, get in like the 2 fights instead of 10 that it does, even with encounters on, and like but they kept the map the same, so it's like I don't know. It's interesting. Ada said, so I liked Pixel Remaster simply because I wanted to go through quickly. Like, I didn't do the no encounters or stuff like that, but I wanted the other quality of life things, like more familiar menus and the like. That's the stuff that I wish, like they did. I'm sure the Pixel Remaster was probably at the thought of how do we sell the most copies, right? It was not at the thought of like how do we sit and like make the best versions of these games. And I do like the idea of like, if you're not doing like a historic academic, like I want to see how the series has evolved thing. I like the idea of doing something that's more of a, hey, all the menus are unified. Hey, you know, like the inventory system in this game is absolutely busted. Fixing things like that you know was not like an intended part of the game, right? And I think stuff like that is cool. But some of the things that are seen as quality of life changes, I think are like actually like, okay, if you change that though, you change the game itself, and then you should then just be doing almost more of a remake, you know? Like if you take the first game had no Phoenix Downs, right? That's just a thing that did not exist in the first Final Fantasy game. There was no way to revive other than going all the way back and reviving in a town, right? That was just the nature of that game. It was how that game was designed. I don't think it's a inherently just quality of life change to like put Phoenix Downs and life spells in there. I can't remember if they do life spells too, but because that was an aspect of that game that they were designing around. I completely understand the argument of like, I don't want to play a game where they have done that, but like if that's the case, then you need to start messing with the dungeon design and stuff too, because like it or not, the dungeons were designed to be like complete straight runs that you were going to fail at sometimes. And game taste and everything has changed over the years, and so that's all fine. It's just a very different game. God, that one dungeon with the giant combat per step. Yes. But like that's that game, right? It's just, it is what it is. And you can't change one part of it without fundamentally changing the whole thing. God awful, the game. So yeah, I don't know. I get also from a personal taste perspective going like, I would rather just play the Pixel Remaster. But the caveat I have though is like someone who just plays the Pixel Remaster and they're like, yeah, Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 are just like basic and not very good, and just like I think objectively it's hard to say you've actually played and experienced Final Fantasy 1, 2, or 3 if you've played the Pixel Remasters of them. I'm not saying you haven't at all. I'm just saying it gets harder to be like, I'm really pretty deep in there. I might know these because we're really deep in. We've not done a lot of leveling. We're just like deep in this dungeon. This is always when I make this call, that's always how like you end up just dying. Although these all seem so far like things we can handle. And that's not me being like snooty two shoes of like, if you played a Pixel Remaster, you've not played Final Fantasy. Like, I'm not saying that. I think if you played the Pixel Remaster, you've played Final Fantasy 1. I think that like if you've played the Pixel Remaster of Final Fantasy 1 though, it's hard to have a conversation about the like quality or like the quality of the game, or like the, which so many people do with this game particularly, where they go like, the Final Fantasy 2 sucks, and it's like, how much did you experience, you know? And I'm not saying you even have to play it, like just look at the differences that are there in the game. And this is one of the least like Final Fantasy 1 is one of the most over-covered games in like all of our gaming history, right? There is, if you look up, you can find 100 different podcasts of people breaking down the experience of playing Final Fantasy 1 on the NES and playing the Pixel Remaster. If you look on YouTube, you can find 1,000 different people breaking down the experience of playing Final Fantasy 1 on the NES, playing it on the Pixel Remaster, playing all the different versions. You can find so much of it streamed. You can find all this stuff. Final Fantasy 2, way less so, to the point that part of the learning curve of this game was figuring out how to actually like have an airship. Pro ring. Guessing that's vectoring. We have an ice arm. Pro ring is worse, but maybe it does something. Shut up. But yeah, it's like so much of learning this game was that there's so little info out there for this game in particular, at least in the English language. I'm sure it's probably different if I could hang out in like a Japanese forum or something, but there's so few of our like English speaking gaming culture that has played this version of this game, that there was just, it felt like playing a game did 20-30 years ago, because it would, you know, people would swing into the chat and would be like, hey, by the way, this is a thing. And then I would take in that information the way I would if someone I was playing like fucking Crash Bandicoot or someone, and someone was like, there's a secret on this level, and then not really ask more questions or do anything, so that, because knowing that I could just Google secret on level 17 later, but people would drop in the chat and say information that was factual, but then when I was looking later, I was like, I can't find anybody talking about this stuff anywhere. And some of it was like the first day or two I was playing this, I had a guy drop in and try to give me a bunch of advice, and he was like, he had specifically like put himself as the like, hey, I give advice to like I'm the guy who gives advice to people playing Final Fantasy 2. That's like one of my pastimes, the way Vince does with like Silent Hill 2. Like, I like to go on and watch people streaming the NES version and be like, okay, you need to do that. And he was trying to give me advice that I couldn't even understand yet, because the systems of this game are weird. And then there's not a lot of it out there. It's just like this like weird forgotten knowledge. Like the way these systems work are really, really strange. Like there's a billion people out there that are lining up to tell you that in Final Fantasy 1, hey, by the way, this spell doesn't work the way it's supposed to, or this thing doesn't work the way it's supposed to. I've yet to find anybody out there talking about how the inventory is broken in this game. Gonna try to sneak in some Void Stranger before touring while I watch the stream. Awesome. I've been meaning, you sent that game to me, not like literally sent the game, but just like showed it off. I've been meaning to check it out. It'll maybe happen when life slows down a little. I've been playing in my downtime. I've been playing the game that is by the people that made Life is Strange, which is the game called, because they lost the name Life is Strange, and so they had a game like launch against a Life is Strange game, which is really weird because they're the Life is Strange people. Gosh, it's gonna bug me. I can't think of the name. It's good though. I like it. It's on like PlayStation's little like, hey, you can pay us money and somewhat monthly. I think I pay yearly on that thing, and then get access to library, which is not as good as Game Pass. Lost Records, that's what I'm thinking of. I've been playing Lost Records. There's a lot of people out there that are like anti that game for whatever reason, or they're just like, it doesn't really hit. But you know, playing as a bunch of like little lesbians that don't get along with popular kids growing up in the 1990s hits. That works for me. So I've been enjoying that game. This is like accidentally, I don't know if I'm doing the Vince thing where I just said the whole time like, you'll definitely like 1,000 times resistant. Yeah, that's on my list. It was interesting because I did finally find out for sure where I actually truly sit on the Hogwarts Legacy thing, because I thought forever that I was like, you know what, I'm never gonna stream that game, I'm never gonna buy that game, but if it hits like Game Pass or something, I'll probably play it. And then it hit that PlayStation one that I have, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't want, no thank you. I was like, I just don't. And it's interesting because that's been, when that game launched, I probably, if it would have been a Game Pass game, I probably would have like, I should check it out. But yeah, in just even that amount of time, my feelings on that brand have just like hit such a weird point where I'm like, I don't know, there's just so much to do. So many games I haven't played that like I just don't want to. It's like whenever I do try Chick-fil-A and I'm like, this is good. There's so many like, it has to be like for the complicated feelings you feel about purchasing the thing or through the thing, it would have to be that much better, and there's so many other options, and I'm just like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. It is interesting to see that land. Is this a complete dead end? That is amazing. This fucking game. I was like, I'm making insane progress. Oh, they had like a whole swath of level that was a dead end. I don't need good decision, good bands. It was because I was pretty sure that was my line. Was that I would still play it if it like showed up on the thing, and but I don't deserve any credit, and I'm not looking for any. It was just interesting to me that like for so long that's where I thought I would fall on it, and then to see it show up and me just be like, I think I'm good was odd. And not a thing I saw coming. And you know, have a trans kid who is said over and over and over again, like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
Welcome to the party, pal.
what is up, Mike?
TX Burger Mike has rated us.
Hello, thank you so much for the raid. And try to shout out Mike. There you are. Boom. How was Sons of the Forest? That's one of Lena's favorite games, is that stuff. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the follow. It has been a while, man. Yeah, how are you doing with the storms? I know it's been nasty out there. One of us, yes. If you don't know who I am, Jeff, Dork Duck is the channel that I share with my fiance. We used to do a Monday through Friday morning show, and then life kind of caught up with us. We maybe will do that again at some point. We do that like Tuesday mornings now, where we do like a hangout podcasty thing, and then read Am I the Asshole posts and stuff. And then Thursday mornings I do this. I'm trying to play through every single Final Fantasy game. I'm slowly getting there. I'm on the second one. It's gonna be a journey. And then you know, Friday mornings we're doing co-streams together. Right now she's playing Hollow Knight for the first time. And so you get two of us hanging out and playing through a game. And we own a comic shop in small town, and this is the fun job we do on the side from our already fun job. If you don't know Mike, everyone should follow him. He's a good dude, streaming from Tejas, and also does game development stuff. Made a horror game. Oh, I was gonna talk to you, Mike. I actually started slowly developing a little RPG game, so I don't know if it'll just be for fun or if I'll ever do anything with it, but it's been a neat thing. Yeah, thanks, man. Well, and thank you too, because it was like you saying that I should do it about a year ago kind of stuck in my craw, and then kind of like slowly like, maybe we should do this. And like all my silly dumb creative projects, I really tied it into the store, and so it's very much a like hey, let's do an RPG that is like me, Lena, and literally RJ, the Rad Raptor, the mascot for the store, like trying to save comic books. It's really silly, and I've got like almost no work into at this point because life gets busy. So I don't know if I'll ever finish it, but it's a fun little project. And I appreciate you like encouraging us in that direction. Mike says, yeah, I totally think you should do it. It would be a great staple, and you can also put it out there in your comic shop. You have a demo or something to play while people are in there. Yeah, man. Thanks for the kind words. It's definitely yeah, I try to do like little side creative projects that like scratch those itches for me, but then also just plug into like weird marketing nonsense for the store, because that way they have a kind of they're a little more goal oriented than if I was sitting here like, I'm gonna make the greatest RPG ever made. Like, that's not gonna happen, right? But people that are already like, hey, I kind of like the comic shop and the weird silly raptor that is the main character of it, you know, some percentage of them would be like, oh, cool, I will play a silly game full of jokes based on that nonsense. And then, you know, for other people that don't play, they're just like, oh, did you see that you know, that comic book shop released a game. Like that's and so it doesn't have to be anything that changes the world or anything, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I can get it done. It's going to be a long project. It's harder for me to get things like that done these days because the best thing about being in a good relationship is you're in a good relationship. It's really hard to do stuff. I'm just like, I just kind of want to hang out with her, you know? Here, I'm gonna have to look at a map for this place, which isn't here. Great news. Appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, good work. Life balances need great. Yeah, I mean, that's why we changed this streaming schedule up so much too, is like, I'm a workaholic and like, have put more work into not working on myself, but on like working on how I can just operate better than normal. And there is a weird thing where like it is real silly, but like I sit there and go like, well, you know, I don't have to work on myself so much if I just fill every hour of every day. If every hour of every day is I'm busy, then I'm never alone with my thoughts, and can never do like some of my more problematic behavior because I'm busy. So that's just all I need to do is fill every hour every day, and that's how I've spent basically my 30s, which have been better than my 20s, right? And then now I have a partner that's like, what? Like, I don't want every single hour of my day scheduled and filled with something. And that's rough because you're like, but then I have to work on myself. I don't want to do that. I would much rather just like fill all this time. What are you talking about? I'm sorry I haven't stopped by. I'm too a workaholic. I'm taking better care of myself. You know, doctor visits, watching what I eat, etc. I'm glad to hear it, man. As long as you never stop eating burgers, so that's the brand. Can't stop. You are Burger Mike. I hear Impossible Burgers are good. I'm not like fundamentally against them. Alex says I'm a schoolaholic. I thought that was gonna be me. And then I got out of academia, which I'm kind of glad I did because my university is closing. The place that I went to school is not going to exist anymore. It's so weird. Gotta go. Really hope you have a YouTube, man. Yeah, I'm not gonna be going too much longer here, which is rough because I got a late start, and I thought I was having a really good run with this dungeon, but I found a dead end, and I would rather get these maps off screen than like halt all good conversation and anything else just to be like, all right, let me stare at web forums. That's been the other thing with Final Fantasy 2 though, is like a lot of the stuff that exists out there is not for this version of this game, so you have to like really parse out like what you love the Sony TV port. Thanks, man. Yeah, I thought it was funny. And you know, what are you gonna do with playing a game that came out when you were 1 year old other than do something silly like this? So I did have to like screen grab this, and it was really funny when OBS did an update and suddenly a lot of my stuff didn't work because OBS changed a lot of the back end stuff of how it put graphics on the screen, and it just didn't do it as efficiently, and then a lot of my stuff got broken, and so I had to make my stuff more efficient, which I was not doing. So but these were all like placed graphics because I was just like, I don't know. I like built it in OBS, and then I had to go through it and screen grab it so that I could run it as just one image, which is why parts of it are like bleed through in like kind of silly, weird ways. But it's like, yeah, it's fine. Adam says OBS loves to do that. Unfortunately, I was glad Sam was there to help, because otherwise I don't think. And in helping me fix that problem, Sam fixed about 8 other different problems that we had, that other like professional people had looked at and not been able to figure out, which is really funny. You take care and be safe too. It's good seeing you. Thank you so much for the raid. Beautiful human. Sorry I've not been around more. I've not been in anybody. I felt bad because like yesterday was Sam's big like happy birthday stream, and I hung out for a little bit of that. But I've not been able to hang out in people's streams as much, because part of kind of streamlining everything and getting everything in a spot where it made more sense is like we're not paying for internet at the shop right now. We're running like everything off my phone, and so I'm completely on like data that is technically unlimited, but you know how that goes, where it's like it's not quite. And I switched to like a much cheaper carrier thing, and then also like the hotspot, but the hotspot is limited. I only get so much like a month, so it's definitely not what I had before, which is like when we were streaming from the shop, I had very, very robust internet at the shop that was costing me way too much money. But then like every second I was at the shop, pretty much I was like had somebody's stream turned on and was hanging out in it, and sometimes not getting work done that I was supposed to be getting done. Let's be honest. Maybe not the best thing in the world. And so these days I hang out in streams a lot less than I used to, and I hate that too, because it's interesting because that era of meeting all of you wonderful people on here, when we were streaming every day and meeting everybody and like everything was like just booming, was one of I think like it had me redefine like a lot of like what friendships meant to me and like everything else. And then also like it helped me reconnect with like old friends that meant a lot to me, that like we had just, you know, kind of fallen out of practice of like talking and interacting with each other. But it was whether it be Vince or Snoopy or Echo, or a bunch of people that like I hadn't talked or interacted with really in years, that I was now able to like have a relationship with again, was cool. And then other people at meeting and like sorting not by geography but just by like, hey, we kind of dig each other and, you know, see the world in similar ways, right? After so much of like hey, like I don't know, it was definitely like a lot of the times the friends that you sort by geography is a lot of like, well, I have to put up with the fact that he likes this thing that I think is atrocious, right? Or thinks this way or votes this way, or you know, sometimes he has jokes like that, you know, like you tend to put up with that geographically, and then the whole Twitch thing was like, holy shit, like there you can just kind of, when you live a life that's on the internet, you can kind of sort more by like, who would I genuinely just get along with less initial friction. which has good things and bad things, because I think people need to build the skill set of being able to get along with people geographically too. But it's it was a nice time, just hanging out in everyone's streams, everyone hanging out in ours, and like I miss that era a lot. And I think what I learned is, because I'm probably not someone who is going to be like a professional streamer / content maker professionally. I don't think that's in the cards for most of us, unfortunately. What it did teach me is like, that is probably that life that I got to live there for basically 6 months to a year, and then it became not sustainable, is that's probably going to be a much bigger picture of our like retirement strategy one day than I ever thought. Is that now like the thing I'm working backwards from is not like, how do I retire, but it's like, how do I end up someday in a life where I just come on and stream every day and hang out with cool people and make cool shit and vibe. And it says one of the things I love with the internet, like that's how we connected, and it's wonderful to meet so many people of similar views and interests. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's very cool, and it's especially is in the other eras of the internet where people fell more deep in, was always more of a struggle for me, because I'm so much more of an audio person. So the fact that like we can talk like this, but then I can hop in your stream later and hear you talk is like is a big important component to me that forum eras of the internet just lacked. So it's really cool. And I'm really grateful for like everybody that was like a part of that era, and it's a bummer now that like I have to be more responsible, because it was great. Like, and honestly, it was sitting there. It was the tough thing. We had some money hit that I didn't think would ever hit, and we had to sit there and look at the store and at Dork Duck and make an honest decision of like, you know, are you betting on black or red, right? And I'm gonna be real. Had I not been with a partner, it might have been very dangerous and irresponsible, but you might have seen a world where it was like, I bet it all on this. And it would have been dangerous and irresponsible. But like I was like, I don't know, like this feels like what we should be doing, but practically it's not the thing that makes money. And it's not like selling comics makes a ton of money, but like it was one of the first times in my life where it was like I had to really stop and be like, okay, if I make this decision, I'm gonna probably, without a partner, I'm gonna lose a partner over it. So like, how do I do this in a way that is responsible and have a conversation? And we sat and talked, but that's one of the rough things, like, okay, if we aren't going all in on this, then how many spoons are we spending on? If it's just like a more fun side hobby-ish thing, then we have to approach it differently, unfortunately. Yeah, it was a bummer. But we did probably the right thing for us in the long term. But now that becomes, I think, for me, part of the like long-term retiring conversation, or, you know, what's Jeff's life look like 30 years from now, is I think I want to be doing this. I want to be having some sort of regular conversational show. I want to be hanging out with people. The morning show has like always been like my thing that I've wanted to do and build, and I think that is just a someday thing for me now. Like at some point in my life, there will be a time where I can spend a lot of spoons and resources there. It's just not right now, unfortunately. But yeah, Addo's correct. It is wonderful to meet so many people with like similar same interests. By the way, that's the link to our YouTube channel, right there. And on it, I don't know if I have any flies in here. That was a very weird greeting. On that YouTube link, you'll find my like very first video where I gave all my thoughts in an essay form on Final Fantasy 1. If that appeals to you, please file that and check it out. Put a lot of work into that video. It's neat. I'm working very hard right now on a Final Fantasy 2 video that will be coming out around the time that I wrap this game up, which will be sometime soonish. Today was a pretty good indication that we're ready to start making serious runs into that dungeon. It's just casually and walking around and talking, I made it a lot further. But that means that next week we have to come with like the maps open and approach it all that way. He scared me. Oh, you caught a spider. That is a big boy. Holy cow. Yeah, all right. He made friends with the bug that you put in there to try to eat? Yeah. Okay. Addo says, please don't show that on stream. I will not. Vince said hi, though. By the way, so we'll be live here tomorrow with Selena playing Hollow Knight. We'll be live on Whatnot Saturday night selling comic books. Please go check us out there. We have raid messages. They look like this. And this, depending on if you're subscribed or not subscribed. And let's see. Go say hello to... Boom, boom. Yeah, let's go say hi to Bit. He's playing Breath of Fire. So it'll be similar vibes. Appreciate you all. Be honest, be kind, be useful. And live a good fucking life. Wait, is he ending? He might be in. He looks like he's wrapping up. We're not going there. Give me a second. And I will find us a spot. He probably is in it. He does like overnight streams, so this is let's go say hi to Pixel. It's been a minute since I made it over there. So let's head that direction. Good people. So be honest, be kind, be useful, live a good fucking life. We'll see you all tomorrow morning with some Hollow Knight. Love you guys. Ah!